follow trends, we own them. This is fusion. This is the mothership. Real you, real power. Let's go. As a mothership alive, we rise in the night, built from the chains where others lost sight. As our microgrids pulsing, real yield and fly. My fusion is fire, the future's inside. As our mothership online, we rise in the night, built from the chains where others lost sight. As our microgrids pulsing, real yield and fly. My fusion is fire. This is real life. No JPEG promising, no clickbait clones. We own the code, the vault, the zones. Stack that yield, no Ponzi tones. Just smart contracts and bulletproof bones. NFTs that print, yeah, pass it pays. Fusion built it in silent days. Now we shine, no delays. Bomb flows hot like Dexy Blaze. Vol burns rising on Plazm stats. eSHARE drops, yeah, we like that. Low supply, no inflation gains. Microgrid earns, that's DeFi flames. There's a mothership online. We rise in the night. Built from the chains where others lost sight. I can make a grids pulsing, real yield and flight. The fusion is fire, the future's in sight. There's a mothership online. We rise in the night, built from the chains where others lost sight. I can make a grids pulsing, real yield and flight. The fusion is fire. This is real life. Remember the signs, we broke it loud. They laughed at DeFi, we built a crowd. No VCs, no ties, only freedom and yield that multiplies. Microgrid stack like royalty rights. Each one's income day and night. No click to earn, no empty spin. Fusion plays the long-term win. Minted points, that's yesterday. Now it's yield every time you stay. The bonds pay in pure reward. Any share hits that scoreboard. From DexFi.com to the Plazm core. Every transaction fuels us more. We earn, we rise, we own. Welcome aboard, welcome home. Was your mothership online? We rise in the night, love built from the chains where others lost sight. Watch your microgrids pulsing, real yield and flight. The fusion is fire, the future's in sight. Watch your mothership online. We rise in the night, love built from the chains where others lost sight. Watch your microgrids pulsing, real yield and flight. The fusion is fire. This is real life.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the new Fusion. On base, we are live, and we're celebrating with a brand new intro. Shout out to Mujafa for the epic intro video. And yeah, we're here after a little bit of a break. Last week we skipped. LA and I were both traveling, but now we're back, and we have a lot to go over tonight. So with that being said, please welcome my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA, how are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm good. I loved that new video and all the cool graphics of AJ flying.
Yeah, no doubt.
At one point, I think you were a flying ninja, which was pretty cool.
I think you're right. Yeah, totally. It's funny what AI will do, right? And yeah, gotta love the mouth movement and all the yeah.
I was wondering what it had you saying. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know. It's space traveling AJ. So we're getting started. But all right, awesome. Well, that being said, before we do jump in, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe as well. That really helps get the algorithm going and helps push the video out to new users. And 2026 is going to be our year. We're ending the year strong. All of the infrastructure is now on base, and we're going to go over what Fusion is now that it's in the final form, a much more simplified version. We'll talk a little bit about bonds, feeding the real yield to both Plazm and Fusion, and then obviously Plazm as well. So stick around. Thank you all for being here. We come to you every Thursday, and yeah, we have a lot to go over. So all right, let me go ahead and pull up the notes, and then we're gonna go through. I guess just quickly, market sentiment is what it is. We usually always start off with the market stream or market update, but over the last 2 weeks, it's just been kind of trending in a channel. We saw a big sell-off, and honestly, volumes have really dried up, which we'll talk about when we get to bonds a little bit later. But overall, I think we're just going to see things kind of be stagnant until the end of the year, and then when the holidays are over and people are back to carrying, and hopefully we get rate cut in the next week or two, then we should start seeing the momentum coming back for sure. But overall, we've been still performing well with or without the overall movement on Bitcoin and ETH. So, eSHARE and Plazm and everything that we built, kind of has its own destiny now. Obviously, we need the overall crypto markets to perform, and we still earn from the underlying assets doing well, especially in bonds. But overall, we're creating our own destiny, which is super bullish for sure. So, all right. That being said, let's start with Fusion. I know a lot of you've been keeping up with our AMAs and our announcements, all of our pinned. But we are now officially 100% on base. So the bridge is discontinued. We'll talk about that at the end as well. Dex swap is currently on hold, and our entire ecosystem now with bonds, Fusion, and Plazm is on base. So if you, and again, we'll get to if you still have eShare on BSC, we'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, just be focused on putting your assets to work on base. And so with that, we're gonna do a full run through here bit by bit. I'm gonna share my screen, and then LA, if you just go through each bullet point, that way we don't get off topic or skip anything. But before we do that, was there anything you want to add about why we moved to Fusion and what this whole thought process was in terms of making the protocol that much better?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, we had a lot of existing users and new interest from people, especially who have come to us through Plazm. And with the common trend was that people just didn't understand how it all worked. It was too complicated. And I know a lot of you at the very beginning, before you attended a lot of AMAs and watched the tutorial playlists and everything, were confused too. And it took a lot of education to understand Fusion. At the end of the day, it was just built way too confusing. And we saw a lot of success with what we've done with our bonds program. It's been a huge success. And so we wanted to simplify things and really kind of emulate that a little bit and just make it easier, not only for all of you who have been around, but for existing and new users. There's a lot of people who have been kind of on the sidelines. They haven't been around for a while because they just don't have the interest in learning a big complex system, who now we can pull in. And a lot of people in the Plazm community that are now going to be more interested in getting involved. And it's just super streamlined to have everything over on base now. And it's just, it's just going to be a lot more simplified and a lot more powerful.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. I couldn't myself, and the whole idea, like LA said, is simplification. Oh, am I there? Oh, it looks like I was freezing. Can you hear me, LA? I don't know.
I can.
Yep.
You were freezing a little bit.
All right, no worries. If I cut out, let me know. We'll jump back on. But yeah, the whole idea is that no more peg mechanism, no more convoluted battery system, no more having to know how to navigate and read the white paper, as a lot of people don't ever read a white paper. And this structure is just plug and play. when I show you how simple it is, it's a lot easier for people to get involved and to onboard, and it still holds true to everything that we set out to do with the original vision of Fusion and even the original vision of EMP. I mean, we still are going to have exposure to Ethereum both through a treasury, not only an asset treasury where we stack Bitcoin and ETH in reserves, but also through bonds. Or just like with Plazm, and if you were in bonds on your own, Fusion will always continue to build the earning, the treasury that earns. So again, we're putting that capital to work, whether it's 50 to 100% APR, and that is what fuels rewards in Fusion, both for um, distribution of eShare and in buying and burning microgrid. So again, we'll talk about all that next. But the whole idea is that it's a much easier way to participate, and it strengthens the overall flywheel. So you hear us mention flywheel a lot, but basically that just means that every part of our protocol supports the other parts of the protocol. So it's this self-fulfilling loop that makes everything that much stronger. And now that we're all on base, it can happen more seamlessly without having to bridge and other fees, that are associated with that. And honestly, just making it easier. You can take your eShare you earn from Fusion and use that to mint Plazm, and then take your rewards from Plazm and use that to go and buy more microgrids. So that sort of a design is very intentional, and it's what we mean by a flywheel, or the mothership of everything within our ecosystem benefiting each other. So, all right, let me go ahead and share my screen. And then, LA, if you just go one by one through our bullet points, I'll elaborate on each item.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, 1 second here. All right, let me pull up Fusion. So here we are. This is, yeah, right on. So this is the new Fusion. Again, the same website, fusion.emp.money. And it's just way, way more simplified. Those that are familiar with, the way bonds works, the UI will be very familiar to you. And as you can see, I'm showing our Treasury account, and we've been very transparent about this, but we have almost 3 million microgrids staked. And although that will, essentially, is not taken into account with the actual total microgrids, meaning, this number is really more like 33 million rather than 36 million. And we're doing this on purpose because all the rewards that we earn from Fusion will be recycled into higher payouts. So this account will always continue to buy off the market as well, and that automatically increases your ownership from what microgrids there are. If we're buying it off the market, then that's less microgrids anybody else can have, and further pushes up your ownership over time. And then periodically, we may even burn some of these. So you get your total microgrid total right here, 49 million. A lot of that, as you can see, we're a week in, and there's still a lot of microgrids that have never been staked, and that's because some of them belong to contracts or dead wallets or hacked wallets. So ownership is now based on this number, the total microgrid staked, and again, that number is even less than what it appears because of the Treasury address. So, all right, Elliot, let's go ahead and go one by one. I know I probably will cover what I just said again, but I think it's good that we go through it.
Yeah, well, first of all, welcome to the brand new era of EMP Fusion. It's more simplified, it's more powerful, it's easier to understand. We are now fully on base with both the Fusion protocol and all of our eShare. And tonight we're about to do a really extensive full run through. So
Let's go.
So the first thing on our list is, if you are brand new to Base, never interacted on there before, how do you get funds on there, and how do you get ETH for both gas and microgrid purchases?
Yes, that's a great question. There's many ways to do it, but I'll just go through a few of the easiest ways. So, if you are on MetaMask or Abby, you can onboard that way. So again, no matter how you get crypto, if you're already on BSC, you can bridge through Ravi or MetaMask. So I'll just show Ravi, and then the same applies for MetaMask. You just go to the wallet, and then it'll have a bridge icon right here, and then you can bridge from BSC or whatever chain you're on that you do have funds, to get it back to Ethereum, or in our case, Base. So you would go to Base. Oh, and then select ETH. And the fees are actually really good on Ravi. So this is probably the easiest and most simple. Again, MetaMask, I'm not really a MetaMask user anymore, so I can't really comment on that, but I'm assuming it's the same infrastructure. And then last but not least, you also can go to this. This is another bridge, Stargate.finance, and we can put the link in the descriptions as well if it'll load here. But this is another trusted bridge that has really good fees and can get you from pretty much any chain to any chain as well. Yeah, all right, it's going to be unresponsive here. Let me try to refresh, see if it shows up. All right, well, it's not cooperating, of course, while we're on stream. But yeah, Stargate.finance is another one. And then last but not least, what else you can do is use Coinbase directly. So again, if you're brand new, or maybe you don't use a centralized address or centralized exchange with Binance or whatever, you can now onboard directly through Coinbase, and that's another reason why we're building on Base. It just makes the onboarding that much easier. So you would open up a Coinbase account on your app or on a desktop. You connect your wallet or you connect your bank account or even a credit card, I believe. And if you can load USDC, and if you're buying with stables, I think it's even 0 fees. So and then it'll be a quick description on how to withdraw to Base chain. You put in your wallet address and you're good to go. So that would be the three main ways to get onto Base if you're brand new to Base. And again, Ravi and MetaMask will also recognize the Base chain, so you shouldn't have to do any custom RPCs or anything else. But the same wallet address that you used on Base, I'm sorry, on BSC or BNB will be the same wallet address on Base. And that's where all your microgrids are connected as well. So whatever wallet you had with the previous Fusion, that is the wallet that was giving credit in Fusion on Base. So does that help, LA? I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yep. Nope. We'll move on to our next point. Can you demonstrate for us how to stake your microgrids? Because when you first go onto this Fusion page for the first time, you'll see where it says balance 0 right below where AJ has highlighted. It will say whatever your full balance is because they're not staked until you physically do it yourself. And so if AJ, you can demonstrate how to actually do that.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is the number one issue that we've been getting reported, and again, it's just a matter of just knowing what to do. So if you're now just connecting to Fusion and you're brand new, like LA said, this number right here will be 0, and you'll see this in the very tiny text down here. of a balance will have your balance of microgrids. So it's extremely important that you are always mindful of this. And in order to earn from Fusion, you have to stake your microgrids. And the only reason to unstake is to sell. So we'll go through that in a minute here, but it's super straightforward. So you come to Fusion, you hit stake right here, and this will say how many microgrids you have. I've already staked all of them, so it says 0, but you'll just go, no matter how many you have, go to max, and microgrids are whole numbers. You can't have, a fraction of a microgrid now, so just round numbers, and you'll hit, however many you have. It'll ask you to approve first. Again, I've already done it, so it says confirm, but you will need to do 2 transactions. So approve, wait for that to go through, and then it will turn to confirm. If it doesn't go from approve to confirm, just refresh the page again, and then the confirm button will show up, and you hit confirm, and that's it. So again, if you have microgrids that are not staked, you will not earn anything. So it's very important that you go and you do that. And again, we went through how credit was given on all the other AMAs, and all the wallets that had positions in Fusion received, credit in microgrids. Now, it was, and again, I'm sure we'll get to LA, but it was a 1 to 10 multiple. So if you had 10 sacrifice points in the old Fusion system, you got 1 microgrid. So again, don't be alarmed if you have less microgrids, because now we're calculating everything in microgrids instead of SAC points, but it's not a dilution. It's just basically moving a decimal point over. So that was another bit of confusion. You're not overall, your ownership should actually even be higher than lower, because we're doing it based on staked microgrids. But so yeah, and then the other thing as well is to unstake. Again, you can go here, put in however much you want to unstake, and the only reason to unstake would be because you need to sell your microgrids. So that would be, again, going down here, which we'll get into next. I don't know, that might be the next thing up, right, LA? Or we have
I just want to emphasize
okay,
a couple things
okay.
in this section first. So
All right, go ahead.
we've said it already, but I want to say it loud and clear. If you do not stake your microgrids, you will not be earning any rewards. And so if you haven't done anything yet, rewards are starting soon. So you need to go ahead and stake all of your microgrids. And there will be 2 steps in that process. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is approve it. And then the second thing, you'll actually stake them. So make sure you've gone through 2 steps in your Rabby or MetaMask, that you've approved 2 separate transactions. The first one will be an approval. The second one will be actually staking them. I noticed, AJ, when I was staking mine, that in MetaMask, it actually labeled it in a way that was confusing. So when I went to stake it, it labeled it as withdrawing. Can you kind of go into that? And then when I went to set confirm it, it said you're sending in your microgrid. So can you kind of go through that so no one's alarmed when they get those types of pop-ups in their wallet?
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt, LA. So yeah, again, MetaMask does a few extra warnings. What LA is referring to is, on a technical level, you are sending your microgrids to the contract. So it will tell you that you are sending your microgrids, to a different address outside your wallet. And that is, the only way to essentially stake. So as long as you are on fusion.emp.money, again, don't ever respond to DMs. or official help lines, or even me. I will never even, LA and I have imposters that pretend to be us. Nobody will ever ask you to send or connect to any other site. And we do have a whitelist function where you cannot send NFTs other than to, the actual staking contract. So we do as many security roadblocks as we can. So yeah, just don't be alarmed. You may have to up your gas. And another issue, which again I'm sure we may get into later, we are compatible with hardware wallets, so Ledger specifically. However, you have to make sure that you have the latest update to the firmware. A lot of people were saying they couldn't do it through their Ledger, but all they had to do was update to the latest version, and it worked. So yeah, everybody should be able to stake no problem. And yes, it is technically sending your NFTs to the central grid, or Fusion staking contract.
Amazing. And then the second thing I wanted to emphasize is that when you go to sell part of your microgrid, you only want to unstake the portion that you're listing for sale. Because if you unstake everything, then you're not earning any rewards, because you will not be earning rewards on the portion that is up for sale because it's unstaked. So say you want to sell 1,000 microgrids, you would simply unstake 1,000 and it would leave all the rest of yours staked and earning rewards.
Yep, perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that real quick, because I'm gonna need to show this later. So, when you unstake, I'm gonna do 10 right now out of that 2.8 million. You just put 10, hit confirm, and then it will also automatically withdraw any pending reward. So you can see 0.3 eShare, just with the minimal rewards as we get ready to start ramping that up. So you hit confirm, and then it will go, the 10 microgrids will go in your wallet again and reduce from your position. So now you can see 10 less microgrids here, and you can see a balance of 10 down here. And that will be really important for the marketplace, which we'll show next. So, all right, anything else on that, LA?
No, that's perfect. I just
Okay.
want to make sure we've said that a few times, because I don't want someone coming in a month from now saying, oh, I didn't stake. What about my rewards? And so I want to drill in that if you don't stake, you're not earning rewards. There will be no retroactive rewards if you don't stake for 6 months. You start earning rewards when your microgrids are staked. There will be no backtracking.
100%. Yep, absolutely. And again, this is on or by design. I mean, we need to, get people that are participating in the ecosystem. And even if somebody doesn't check in for, 3 or 4 months from now, their microgrids will still be there and they can stake at that point and then start earning. But this really rewards the active participants.
Yes.
Cool.
So our next point, AJ, in the old system, where it displayed the value of our microgrid, it was very much based on the current ETH price, our current peg level, and a number of other factors. In the new Fusion, it's much more simplified and it works a little bit differently. If you could go into how the value of your microgrid is determined and why it's constantly changing.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the old Fusion system, we were showing your microgrid value based on peg value. And we did this for a couple of reasons, but the real reason is that that would be your value when we were at peg, and it was to encourage us as a community to get to peg to where that number would be a real number, associated with, your credit. And everything was calculated in sacrifice points. And sacrifice points were essentially a unit of measurement that was still inflationary. So even though there was a cap number of EMP, depending on when you did sacrifice, the amount of sacrifice points you got would always change. And so that really, again, was by design, because the whole idea is that you were further incentivized to sacrifice or buy EMP when we're below peg, and that will in turn help us get to peg. But overall, it just it wasn't enough of an incentive, and we needed to move on from the old mechanisms that we had from the original seniorage protocol. So now everything is determined in actual market value. So although the number may be less than what you originally saw as quote unquote dashboard money in the original fusion, this is current market value. This is not made up at all, meaning this number is based on the floor price of the microgrid. So the floor price is essentially the lowest dollar value that one individual microgrid is being sold for, and that is actual, uh, uh, what the market will bear. And so again, it's a much more realistic number, and it will still increase over time. I mean, we've seen this week alone, the floor price was all the way down to 0.2 cents. We're more than double, almost triple, or more than triple now, of what the floor price was just a few days ago. So as people are buying microgrids and holding them, that floor price will go up, and we get to 10 cents, 20 cents. This value for your overall holdings will also go up based on that number. So again, it's real time what the market is actually bearing, and if you were to sell all 2.8 million on the market, people are buying at those numbers. So it may take a few days or weeks to sell through all of that, but at least you get a very realistic number. And again, the Treasury will also be going through and buying microgrid. So all we have this week already. We've been doing every time we see the floor price get thin, we go in and we buy, and then those microgrids are either staked or eventually burned, which again, that alone will automatically push the ownership percentage for everybody else, and it'll raise the floor price as well. So, as a community, if we want our microgrids to be valuable, all we have to do is not sell them below what we feel is worth it, and that dollar value will rise dramatically. And again, I mean, even now we're super undervalued. Their going rate for sacrifice points was about 20 cents. I mean, EMP again was about 20 cents when we did this migration, and now people are willing to sell below 20 cents when it's a 10x less value because of the split. So again, anything under 20 cents is undervalued just from what the previous numbers were in the original in the original fusion. Again, that's not financial advice. You know, I'm just saying based on history, anything below 20 cents is a very, very good deal. So
Yeah, that's crazy because, say, for example, in the old marketplace, someone was selling SAC points for 2 cents per SAC point.
yes,
If they were to list for 2 cents per microgrid, there's 10 sacrifice points for every
exactly. Yeah,
NFT.
per microgrid. Yep.
The very minimum we should see is 20 cents, and that's in the very early days of the new fusion. It should really only go up from there.
Yep, 100%. And again, people, they want to get out, or they don't believe, or they have an emergency, or whatever it might be. And this is another thing to realize. I don't want to sound like a jerk. I was just talking to LA about this before, but if people want to sell, we let them sell. I mean, again, if they're selling it below market value, or they want out and they don't believe in fusion, that is a direct value transfer to the rest of us. And I did a post in Telegram a day or two ago. You know, with this new system, there is far less than 100 people that will ever be able to own 1% of Fusion. And, at these levels, that number in terms of dollar value for a 1% ownership is very, very achievable for most people. And so the whole idea is, we want people to exit, we want people to sell, and then when there's only 100 of us with 1% ownership, then we all are in control of our own destiny. And when the revenue streams really start to pick up, we're all benefiting from that. So again, it's about delayed gratification and looking at this as buying into part of a business, and that's really it. I mean, how many of you would love to be able to own part of DeFi and the infrastructure of everything that we build moving forward? Now is your chance, and it's through the decentralized nature of how Fusion works. So that's what I like to focus on for sure. All right, awesome.
Awesome.
LA, yep. What's next?
Brings us to our next point, which is about your ownership percentage. Will this fluctuate as more people stake their microgrids, as more people unstake to sell microgrids? Can you kind of go over that?
Absolutely. So the number one way or the way the formula is calculated is essentially what your microgrids are against the total microgrid staked. So yes, as more people stake, then your ownership may go down slightly, and we've seen this happen over the first week. As people are realizing what they need to do to get in. However, I mean, I would be very surprised if we see even another million microgrids get staked, which means, you know, we're more than 10 million microgrids out of existence forever. So that alone, will also increase your ownership. And from the old Fusion system, as long as we had EMP in circulation, you were always going to be diluted. And that's another thing. I think a lot of early sacrificers may get upset with ownership being diluted, but that was always the case. Now there is no more dilution. So again, if you are worried about dilution, you should be buying very, very inexpensive microgrids to compete and essentially lower your cost basis of microgrids. And you can do it for pennies on the dollar for what you probably originally put in. So, and if you're tapped out, that's okay too. I mean, now whatever the ownership is, in theory, should only go up. And again, another week or two from here, and we should have a total number here. And so when that happens, then we as the Treasury, again, will always go in and buy microgrids off the market. So then it is mathematically guaranteed that your ownership only increases. Now, again, because we're staking our own microgrids and recycling the rewards, it might be a little harder to see that happen in real time. But over the next few months, and then every month thereafter, we will burn that part of the microgrids, and this number will only go down overall. So that is exciting. And again, I think people, once they see that this is actually happening, it will cause a whole nother round of FOMO, I think, for those that want to make sure they have their ownership that they, are shooting for.
Awesome. Okay. Next up, what? Oh, we already went over this a bunch, but I'll just ask it and we can just quickly say it again and then we'll move on. What is the value of a microgrid NFT and how does it differ from SAC Points?
Yep. So again, LA said it perfectly a minute ago. Basically, one microgrid was 10 sacrifice points in the original Fusion system. It's a 10-to-1 split now, and the actual dollar value is determined on the microgrid floor price, which again is displayed here in the upper right, or you can just look at the marketplace and see what the lowest price is, which, as you can see here, is 7 cents, just like it says up above. And this is now sorted in real time as well. So no more needing to go through all the listings for the best deal. The lowest price will always be at the top, and you can buy one microgrid or all, 100,000 of this listing. So
Awesome. Okay, next up is really just a statement. There's a total of 49 million microgrids in existence. There's no more dilution. There is a maximum supply, and that number will never go up. It could potentially go down if the Treasury is burning any of them that they own, but that number is never going to go up. So you're never going to compete for ownership with any more than 49 million microgrids, which is
for sure.
really exciting because we've never been in a position before where we didn't have any type of inflation.
Amazing. Yeah, and that is bullish. Again, even if we see another million people staking, it will never ever get to this final number. And another month or two, and it just becomes highly deflationary as well. So
yes, love it. Okay. I'm not going to do that because it's just another way of asking the same question.
Okay. Yeah.
Why would you unstake? Is it only when you're selling? And I already went over this, but can you unstake part of your microgrid?
Yep, 100%. So you can unstake one microgrid or all of them, and then you would just go. The only reason to do that is to sell, and then you just go down here. You go to sell. Again, we were doing some testing, so there's a few that have already sold here, but you go to sell, and then literally, 10, and I'm gonna list these really cheap for some lucky viewers that wants to scoop them. But you do need to go and put the price in ETH. Now, this is something some people were confused on. So make sure that you're pricing it in ETH. So it would be, point. Oh, sometimes you get an error, especially when I'm streaming. But if you get that, just refresh. I'll do it again. Hang on. All right. So again, 10 microgrids, and oh man. All right. Let me try it this way. Bear with me here. I'll try one more time, and then you have to take my word for it. All right, so sell. All right, let me talk in there. Let me see if that helps. 0.01. All right, it doesn't seem like it's working. With my, it keeps airing out with my on-screen keyboard. So, yep, no, there you go. It just took a while. So, again, you just do 0.001. This would be $31 per microgrid. So you don't want to sell for that. And yeah, it errored out again. So, again, and this is just because I'm on streaming. It should be working fine for you. But anyway, that's how you want to list it. LA, does that make sense? Hopefully, again, not without showing it live, but
yeah, and we'll try to maybe just like record a little video to post at some point. But Just the key takeaway there is that you have to list
Yeah.
it in ETH.
Yeah, so 0.00. Oh, well, you can see here. Let me go back down. Hang on, we can show this. Oh, hang on. Sorry. One sec. All right, so you can see that the current market value is, what is that? 0.0000. So 4 zeros and a 2 is 7 cents. So you would do it at, 4 zeros and a 1.5 or 1.9 or 8 if when the market comes back up. So yeah, that's how you would do it. I know some people were confused. I'll try one more time to show, but all right, let me try it. 9. All right, now it seems like it's going. All right, so it's 2 more zeros. All right, that is price per microgrid. Yeah, that was 3 cents. I'll list that for a lucky buyer. And then also what I want to show is all right, so when you do sell, you'll have a transaction here. Again, we sold a few for testing purposes. As you can see, I canceled these others, but the Treasury will never sell microgrids that we buy. But that being said, there is a 3% marketplace fee. So when you sell, you're gonna get 3% less, and when you buy, you're gonna get 3%. You have to spend 3% more. So it's a total of 6%. It's 3% on buy and sell. But the bullish part of that is that goes directly to the Treasury, and so we'll be able to split that revenue in both eSHARE emissions and adding to our vaults. So again, a major part of the revenue stream is through DeFi bonds, and we will always use a portion of what we bring in to buy more and more bonds, which then will have a snowball effect where we're always buying more through the yield than we would if we just spent the money coming in outright. So and again, we'll do an updated a breakdown of all the revenue streams. A lot of them aren't even fully functioning yet. HVM, Universe Madness, all of our other builds, that funnels back in to Fusion revenue, and we're always building and adding more revenue streams as well. So that's where the money comes from. Again, you're essentially owning part of a DeFi business that is always building, and that's where Fusion will be an absolute monster. And whether it's 6 months, a year, maybe another couple of years, at some point the revenue will far outweigh what we're seeing now for sure.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome.
All right. So now if we can go over, oh, you've already done that actually. The next one was how to list your microgrids.
Oh, perfect. All right, must have had. Yeah.
But is there anything else you could add on how the marketplace works?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really straightforward. And that's the other beautiful part about this. I mean, again, if you're brand new to Fusion, the only way to get into Fusion is buying a microgrid from somebody else. All the buying and selling is also settled in ETH. So again, you will have to have Ethereum on base to be able to buy. And you can go, I'll show this. The first listing, again, make sure you refresh, but the first listing is always the most inexpensive. It's listed or sorted that way. And you go to buy, and then, yeah, depending on how much ETH you have, you can buy one microgrid or as much as you have in your wallet. So again, if I do say 100, there you go. If I have 100 by 117, it's going to cost me, the 3% fee of 0.00008 ETH, and it'll be a total of $8.74 or 0.027. You hit buy, and it will go through. And then this is probably a good thing to show LA. So I'm glad we're doing this. So let's go through it. Sign, buy. All right, now what you do need to do, make sure, as you can see here, now I have that 117, which I had one microgrid from leftover. So now I have 118. You do need to stake. So when you buy them, it does not automatically stake them for you. So just remember, buy and stake. This should always read 0. If it doesn't read 0, you need to stake. So we'll go back up and hit max. Confirm. All right, there you go. And I earned 2 cents in eShare since we started the stream. So there you go. Whenever you stake, it will claim the pending rewards as well. So that's how you buy. Again, always make sure you stake. And then yeah, we went over selling as well. And if you have a listing here for a number that is incorrect, you can just hit this already sold, but it'll have a button that just says cancel, and then you can cancel your listings as well. So all right, I think that's really all in terms of the marketplace.
It's
Yeah.
there's not a lot to explain, guys, because the whole system is really simplified.
Yeah, absolutely, LA. And that is, again, another thing I get so excited about. It's like, anybody with a basic DeFi knowledge or has ever done a DApp in their life, all of this is super self-explanatory. No more batteries, no more, marketplace energy, no more,
Yeah.
battery packs. Just buy and sell and earn. So, and yeah, on that note too, again, when buying, everything is settled in Ethereum. So, like I just showed how to buy an ETH and sell an ETH, all the fees are collected. The 3% in are buying and selling, so 6% total. All of that's collected in Ethereum, in the marketplace wallet essentially. And then we use that along with all the other revenue streams to go on the market and buy the eShare, market buy eShare that is then distributed. So that is where we had a lot of people ask, how does this help eShare? All the revenue has to go and buy eShare first. The Treasury doesn't have, thousands and thousands of eShare or can't mint new eShare to pay rewards. So that is really powerful, especially when we start to scale up. It could be, thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a day buying eShare. And yeah, obviously when we distribute it, there is selling for those that want to take profit. But I would venture to say that it will be nearly impossible for every single person to sell the same amount of eShare that the Treasury buys, and that alone will push the price up and to the right, theoretically forever. So really exciting.
Yes. And so a couple things to kind of reiterate. You can stake 1 microgrid, you can stake 1 million microgrids, you can stake any number in between. There's no minimum, there's no maximum. The only thing you can't do is stake like 0.5 of a microgrid. It works in even full numbers. And when you have unstaked a portion of your microgrids or all of your microgrids to sell them, you will not be earning rewards when you are selling them, because they have to be unstaked in order to sell, in order to list to sell. Now, as long as you own even 1 microgrid, you will be earning a portion of the overall rewards. I saw a question in the chat. We might as well go over this, but it asks how do you determine how much rewards you earn? Basically, you will see that you have an overall ownership percentage and an overall position, and that includes the number of microgrids that you own. And say there's a giant pie, and just for simplified math, because we all know I'm not a mathematician, say you own 10% of the overall supply, you will get a slice of the pie of 10% of the rewards that are being distributed. If you own 0.5% of the overall ownership, you will receive 0.5% of the rewards that are being distributed. It's very simple that way. You know what to expect. So you don't have to have a certain number of microgrids staked in order to earn rewards, but you will earn a lower portion of the rewards if you own a lower portion of the overall supply.
Yeah, absolutely, Elliot. This is a really great point. And again, this is a whole discussion, and we'll try to go quick because I know we have a lot to go through still. But when you really start thinking about it like this, it makes the whole system even more bullish. So, to Ella's point, she did a great job explaining it. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. If we are doing $100 a day, I'm sorry, a week. And epochs are every week, so that's another thing. We distribute once a week, even though you're earning eShare in real time. So yeah, let's go daily. It's probably easier to explain. So yeah, if we're doing $100 a day in revenue that is used to buy and distribute eShare in the system, like Ellie said, if you own 10%, you'd be earning essentially $10 of eShare every single day. And so the more revenue we bring in, and assuming your ownership stays the same or grows, then you get a slice of that pie every single day. Now, what also is really cool is the APR that you see here. That is shown globally, meaning this number is not individual to your wallet, and so if you're buying microgrids at a floor price of, say, 10 cents. And then now the new floor price is 20 cents. Your APR is actually double than what is displayed. So it does matter where you buy in and get your cost basis of microgrids. So, when you see microgrids below the value what you bought them for, it's even more of a reason to scoop them up because it actually, will make your APR that much higher. So again, don't be misled by low or high APR. You still will need to, kind of do the math on your own based on where you bought in it. But what is displayed is essentially the bare minimum of what you will be getting. And again, the daily payout will also calculate once we have a little more information. We're working on an ABI right now that will hopefully be live next week, and that will show a lot of really cool things. It'll show, the marketplace history, all the buys and sells. Basically it'll be our own little block explorer in the site, and so that will also help us get more accurate metrics as well in terms of like APR, daily payout, eventually even maybe a P&L like you see in bonds. All those things will be coming for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see what's next. Once you list your microgrids for sale and someone purchases them, does the ETH just magically show up in your wallet, or how does that work?
It sure does. Yep. So the ETH will literally just appear in your wallet as if it was transferred to you directly. So you don't have to claim. You don't have to monitor it. As soon as it's bought, you get your price minus the 3% fee. So
Perfect. That's exciting. Okay. To purchase a microgrid, can you kind of take us through that process there? First of all, you need some ETH in your wallet, and then?
Yep, 100%. So as long as you have ETH, again, it's super simple.
Oh,
Connect to.
sorry. And also, can you go over that you don't have to buy that entire amount that's listed?
Yes, for sure. So yeah, all right. So again, you would just go to the marketplace. I would suggest refreshing as well, just to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date info. So let me do that. All right. So and then the cheapest listing is always going to be first, and you can confirm that with the price here, both in ETH and in dollar value. And then you go to buy, and then you can buy all that you have in your wallet, or you can do, as you can see, there's 116,000 microgrids on this order, but you can literally just buy one. So if I go, well, we'll do 100 just so it shows up. So 116, you can do any number of 1 to all, and then it will show you again the ETH fee and the total of about $8. So and then literally hit buy. You buy it, you get it into your wallet, and then the only other thing you need to do is again make sure that you stake the new microgrids. So it's that simple.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, next up. Marketplace fees. How exactly do they work for buyers and sellers?
Yep. So again, real straightforward. It's a 3% on buying and 3% selling. If you're the seller, you don't have to pay anything up front. It's all settled on the sale, but you will get 3% less than what is showed. Assuming all of them sell. Just be aware that it's 3% less. And with a buyer, again, when you do buy, it will show the additional 3% fee, and you're paying 3% more. So we're essentially getting, the protocol is getting 6% on all volume done on the marketplace. And again, that doesn't go to me. It doesn't go to LA. It doesn't go to the devs. Although, again, some of our vault profits pay for development, so we don't ever have to sell eShare. The vast majority is used to actually buy or add to our revenue of literally buying eShare and distributing it to everybody else. So again, fees are pretty standard on marketplaces, and it goes to pay out all of you that are in Fusion. So that's what we say. Fusion is its own revenue stream as well. So we want to have more volume on the marketplace, whether it's buying or selling.
Mhm.
all that helps. Yep.
And we're very excited by how much volume we're already seeing on the marketplace.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Again, we just round numbers. We've already done about $30,000 of volume in the first week. So that's really bullish. And as this continues to catch on and grow, I mean, we could be doing uh, you know, tens of thousands of dollars a day on volume. So yeah.
And it's exciting to see that even just during this live stream, the available amount of microgrids on the lowest price one have gone down significantly. And overall, over the last week, the floor price has been rising steadily. So it's nice to see that we're going to have higher floor price consistently. And we're on the right track here.
Yeah, no doubt, Elaine. Again, we've seen some people talking in Telegram and even probably on stream tonight about turning on the revenue or ramping up APR, and I just want to set some realistic expectations that I mean APR will gradually increase as we go. It's not like an on and off switch. That tomorrow we have 1,000% APR. That's just not realistic. However, it is a game of attrition, and again, those that are slowly chipping away at cheap microgrids, or when I say cheap, I mean undervalued microgrids, without even necessarily focusing on APR, they will be able to build an ownership that is uh, uh, locked tight, meaning it will be very difficult for other people to ever buy in for that amount of ownership moving forward. It's the same principle with Plazm, really, and it's about building your position, and then you control your own destiny. If you want to sell, and leave, then you can, but you would probably never be able to build the same ownership for the same amount of money. And so when people really start to figure that out, and again, we say 1%, but it could be, 0.1% or 0.5%, whatever you're comfortable with, have a number in your head of how much you want to own in the protocol and try to achieve that number. And then all you have to do is just sit back and relax as that ownership only grows over time and the APR only grows as well. Again, assuming that we build more products and that crypto goes up over a long time horizon, which are both things that we 100% believe in and have proven that we will do. So yeah, I just want to comment on that really quick to have realistic expectations for sure.
Awesome. Okay, next question. Does the Treasury very much so expect to continue buying microgrids in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we have done again a mix. It really just depends if we see a very undervalued microgrid. Again, we had some that were listed at 2 cents a few days ago. We were able to scoop a lot of those. So that week, if we see a lot of undervalued microgrids, then more of the fees and revenue would be diverted to buying off the marketplace. But if we see the floor price holding steady and up around 20, 30 cents, then all the fees will go to APR. So it is a fluid. Again, we're not saying 50% to buying and 50% to yield. We reserve the flexibility on that, and it just depends on what the marketplace. If people are dumping, then we'll turn up the buying because overall that has a much bigger impact in the long run. I mean, the more microgrids we can buy for cheap, then that automatically puts a higher payout to all the rest of you because those are microgrids that are no longer being calculated. So and again, we recycle all that we earn from this anyway. So it's a really cool flywheel again that we have. So
You can say that again. Okay, awesome. I know obviously you're not going to speculate on APR as much as anyone would want you to, but when it comes to rewards, what is the expectation for you?
yeah, no doubt. So again, I mean, a lot of it is just gonna have to see where we settle after this week. I'll be able to answer that question a little bit better because we'll have real data. But I mean, I would assume that APR will be definitely better than what it was in the old Fusion system, simply because we no longer have to support PEG, and so all the revenue either is going to buying microgrids off the market, which increases your ownership, or going into payouts in APR. So yeah, the short answer is more than what it was. So
Okay, awesome. Um, when will the rewards start?
yeah, so we're gonna slowly start introducing it tomorrow. Just like bonds, there is an epoch. So every Thursday, just like with bonds, we top up the reward contract, and so it will slowly start building over the next week, and then from a week from next Thursday, will be the next round. So it's actually every two. We distribute once a week on Thursdays, but the APR is calculated every 2 weeks. So again, as we start filling it up, it will slowly rise, and then 2 weeks from now, we should have a really solid baseline of what the APR will settle at.
Oops, I was asking you something with my mic turned off. So can you kind of expand on that? Is the ETH that we're earning from the marketplace fees going into vaults to then produce more rewards, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so all the ETH that we collect from the marketplace, along with other revenue streams, again, when HVM is ready, a lot of our POL fees that we earn, Dex swap when that comes back online, all the things that we have built and will continue to build, that goes into one pot essentially, and then the majority of that is used to buy bonds, which then produces a yield. So we really don't like to just spend the principal balance, because then you know it's good for APR and good for immediate gratification, but it doesn't. Once it's spent, it's gone. So we really try to prioritize vaults or yield. Again, some vaults we do on our own. Some we just buy bonds. We have it spread over multiple wallets, just from a security operations standpoint. Some of which we dox and some of which we don't. But overall, the short answer again is yes. Whatever we collect is used to produce yield. Then that yield is what's used to feed APR and buy off the marketplace. Now, again, we reserve the flexibility. If we see somebody dumping a large amount of microgrids at a very low price, then we may prioritize buying that off the market, instead of going into a vault or yield. So it really is just a play it by ear scenario. But at the end of the day, it all funnels into Fusion overall. So yeah, hopefully that answers.
Awesome. Okay, next up is a question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind. What are the current and future revenue sources that fuel rewards?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll do an updated version of this. Again, some has changed. We were earning fees from Dex swap, and that's currently on pause. Obviously I mentioned Universe Madness, our game. Once that is ready, that'll be a major revenue stream. But really, what right now in the immediate state, the marketplace fees the Treasury that is already earning, and the bonds are really what will fuel this for the long run. So right now there's a 70-30 split on all Treasury bonds. The 30% is actually going to the recovery fund, but once that's gone paid out from the original issues, we as a protocol receive that. So half of that will go to GDEX, but the other 15% will go to Fusion, and that could be literally, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a week coming into the protocol. So those are like the top three at the moment. But we have about 12 that we've had or will have. So Fusion Watch, again, John has been sick. Shout out to John and Grover of Fusion Watch, but we'll have a whole section on there of where the revenue comes from. And we'll hopefully even have it as another tab on Fusion with a lot more detailed metrics. If you go to, actually, I may be able to pull that up real quick.
Also, I just want to clarify something while you're doing that. So the EMP Treasury and its ability to earn is growing week by week for two reasons. One, because the EMP Treasury, a portion of it had been one of the accounts that lost in the hack. And all
For
these
sure.
weeks and all these months, it's been regaining its position. And so all of that is invested, a lot of it in the bonds and the vaults, and is not only getting paid back in the compensation fund every week like the rest of us, but it's also, that amount that's being paid back is being invested and earning revenue daily. Now, the second reason that it's growing is because of the marketplace fees. And so the marketplace fees get added to the Treasury's positions, and its ability to earn continues to grow week by week because there's more marketplace fees and there's more compensation fund being paid back. And so with those two things, I'm sure AJ can expand, but the Treasury's, the revenue stream that is the EMP Treasury is continuing to become more powerful every week that goes by. Obviously, part of that is affected by where the current market is and what's going on with the broader market, but there's more being added into the Treasury every week as the compensation gets paid back and as there's more marketplace fees, which heightens our ability to pay out more rewards.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Again, you said it perfect. I don't even have to elaborate. The whole idea is that the Treasury will only grow over time, not only from compounding, which is already built in. I mean, with bonds, and that's another thing we can talk about when we get to bonds, but we actually increased compounding now nearly to a 50-50 split while the market's been down. So to LA's point, the Treasury, not only just through the positions we have, but also through yield and then also through being a top wallet that's being paid back from the compensation fund. All of those things allow the Treasury to grow without any new users at all. And so, again, as long as we believe in crypto and volume happens, the payouts should only grow over time as the markets recover and we get an eventual alt season, and we continue to build infrastructure. All those things will come together. So, and then I did just want to show this real quick. LA, this is the DEX DAO for DexFi and GDEX, but we'll have a very similar UI and metrics for Fusion now that we have the new final form. So very similar to how this shows, again, weekly revenues, GDEX payouts, different, volume, the total TVL, all this. Eventually we'll be able to have very similar metrics with Fusion. So GDEX again is very similar. It's got a higher supply, and it's a token rather than an NFT. But the whole idea of GDEX is the same mentality that we have with all of our tokens. That the revenue of the protocols supports the price. So.
Amazing. We're going to have to start powering through because we only have 22 minutes till our HVM AMA.
All right, no doubt.
Our next section is about eShare. And so first thing I'm going to do is post the new contract address for eShare on Base. I will also post a link to the deck screener link for the pair. Please make sure you've added the new eShare contract address to your wallet on Base so that you're aware when you have eShare in your wallet on Base. Another thing we were going to go over was the bridge now being paused for eShare from BSC to Base, AJ.
Yes, perfect. All right, so both of those topics. So yeah, the eShare on BSC is now fully discontinued. We will withdraw the liquidity over the next few days and move all that over to Base and buy additional eShare to make sure we have enough in the Treasury. For the people that did not bridge, you will need to open a ticket on Discord. So if you did not bridge, then you're not out of luck, but you will have to go ahead and open a ticket. And again, there has been a snapshot. So if you're buying, eShare on BSC to try to get credit, you're gonna have a bad time. So don't do that. It's only if you had a position and were not able to bridge. But yeah, right now eShare is only valid and tradable on Base. So this is the chart. As you can see, we had a nice green candle over the last 48 hours. It's up quite a bit, and so overall, again with Plazm and buying off the market to give rewards in Fusion, I think that we could see a really nice movement from here. About 30 grand in volume on eShare as well, which again we have a lot of POL. We earn from those fees. So the whole system is just, again, helping to fuel itself as we move forward. And with the low supply, again, eShare is very, very, again, not financial advice, but very undervalued even at these levels. And as you can see, just a few short months ago, we were at almost $100. So that will hopefully continue. And yeah, in terms of, again, like Ellie said, make sure you add your contract address and only buy and sell eShare on Base from here on out. So
yes. And can you go over the value and utility of eShare currently and in the future?
Yeah, no doubt. So again, I'm gonna try to go through it quick. But obviously Plazm being its main LP pair, having to buy and burn and buy and build Plazm continually locking up the circulating supply of eShare. Obviously with the marketplace fees and all the revenue from Fusion has to go and buy eShare off the market to then distribute. All the fees that we earn through LP providing on eShare as well. So remember, a lot of our LP strategies are with outside protocols where we earn fees on, Banker and SPX or other major tokens in DeFi, but we also have our own vaults as well. So the eShare ETH LP, we're earning 1% roughly on all the transactions of the eShare pool as well. So that is another boost in yield. And then through those fees, we're also always burning some eShare as well. So eShare's max supply fully capped. I don't have the numbers offhand, but less than now that we have the bridge is discontinued and we're all on bids. It's less than 60,000 total eShare. And so yeah, that again is all there will ever be, and will only go down over time as well. So eShare is now deflationary. And then last but not least, future builds on eShare. And those of you that have been in the socials, you may have heard Grover mention that he's working on a new protocol. We have Cool Sheet as well, our one of our OGs, working on a mini game. We have a lot of builders that are building on top of eShare as well. So as more people build utility and use case on top of eShare, that will also again create a supply squeeze or supply shock for the price.
Awesome. Very good stuff. And in the future, like how much eShare do you think could be burned through the Plazm protocol?
Yeah, no doubt. So I mean, right now the circulating supply is dramatically lower. Let me while I'm doing this, I might as well just look. Let's see. So yeah, you can look on base, and yeah, the short answer is a lot. I mean, I'd say more than 10% is in the LP already. And when the buy and burn and buy and build kicks in, we could have a large majority of supply in the Plazm LP, and growing. So yeah, I mean, so rough numbers, yeah, 51,000 total eShare. That's pretty incredible. And yeah, as you can see, yeah, so the two, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, about 4, 5, 6. So about 12% is in contracts. So yeah, I mean, and that's what within the first 2, 3 months. So we could see that only grow from here for sure. So yeah, we'll do more updates on the supply and where it all is as we go.
Okay, let's power through. Let's do a quick recap of bonds and how now it could potentially be a great entry point.
Yep, for sure. So if we go back to bonds. All right, so I know a lot of you have seen that APR is pretty low this week. It's the lowest it's been, around 42%. But again, fundamentally, everything is still really, really strong. I mean, when we had the sell-off, the most recent sell-off where we got below 3 grand, ETH and sentiment seemed to have changed. Lots of manipulation. And honestly, just with the holidays, right around Thanksgiving into Christmas, we see the volume die off as well. So that has been why the APR is less, but that could easily double, in a matter of days. So I wouldn't get too concerned about a lower APR. It always happens like this at the end of the year. What I would focus on is the fund value, and we've been, right around this $2 million mark, even with ETH pulling back. So, and as you can see, people are still depositing. There's about 30 grand of ETH ready to be deployed. So all that is powerful. And another reason the APR is a little bit lower now is what I mentioned a minute ago. Almost all of our positions are now at a 50-50 compound, meaning 50% of the yield is compounding and 50% is going to payout. Originally, it was a 70-30 split, and then we moved to 60-40, and now we're at 50-50. So although the APR might be lower, we really should start seeing the mint price go up. So the ETH value and the dollar value again, assuming ETH also recovers, this should now start rising again. So again, APR a little bit lower, but mint value going up should be a nice compromise for people. And yeah, we'll just get through the end of the month, and by beginning of next year, a month away, APR should dramatically increase again, as long as we see volume in the system. And we're over. We've paid out $1 million between um, our DEX bonds and Bernard bonds. This one over here. We paid out over $1 million in 6 months. So you can't argue with that for sure. So still super bullish on bonds, and now would be a good time to scoop. Not financial advice. So
Perfect. Okay, let's we got 10 minutes left. Let's do a Plazm update.
all right, awesome. All right, bear with me here. Let me get over to Plazm. Oh, hang on. I gotta put it on my face. One sec. All right, here we go. All right, so Plazm has been killing it. We had a nice dip about 2 days ago. We were, sub. I think we got all the way down to like 3 cents, maybe. Or I'm sorry, 30 cents or 40 cents. But now we're all the way back up again. Plazm did like a 200% gain in like 3 days. So shout out to all of you that were scooping the dip. And again, there's this mentality of D-Day or Day 77, where a lot of the unlocks happen. And although we may see a dip on those days, I know a lot of people have been selling it now and stacking dry powder for Day 77. So I don't think we may not even see that big of a dip anymore. And with the buy and burn growing and the price of eShare going up, we have a ton of dry powder ready, about almost 80 grand ready and waiting to start buying and burning and buying and building on Plazm. So and again, the majority of that is perpetual, meaning we're still doing about $600 a day on the buy and build without ever going down. So if you go back down here, you can see that even with the bonds going down in price and the price of ETH, we're still over 110 ETH in the Treasury earning, and nearly 50 grand of buy and burn without having to need new users. So Fusion is still, I'm sorry, Plazm is still crushing it. And I think that, once people see that we're able to get through Day 77 with all the big unlocks, and that, the chart is very healthy, and that we are recovering already, a lot of you have multiple cycle mindset already, which is really helpful. I think people are going to be blown away, at what we have built here with Plazm. So really excited for that as we continue to move forward.
Amazing.
Yeah, and just real quick, I was in a show. I know we got to wrap it up here, but all the analytics for Plazm as well. As you can see, even though we had a few days of lower staking and creating, the last 2 days were higher than the previous 2 days. So people are still participating and have the long-term mindset. And now I think there's probably even less. Let me see on day. So yeah, this was at yeah, this was at about 2.3 million. Now we're under 2.28 million. So again, the release is getting less and less for that day 77 or day 78. It's day 77, but it unlocks on the rollover. So day 78 will be an interesting day, but that's when the buy and burn really starts to get turned up and have an amazing effect. So, all right, what else, LA?
So in a nutshell, you don't expect day 77 to be as dramatic as what people are making it out to be.
Exactly. Yep, for sure. So again, there will be a dip, but I think it's maybe a day or two of down prices, and we could see recovery even quicker. So.
Okay. I have one more section I want to go through, just short and simple. And it's to do with our ongoing support and troubleshooting. Obviously, AJ mentioned to you, him and I will never randomly DM you. We'll never randomly contact you when it comes to support. AJ and I and our admin team, anytime, are always super happy to help you. But we have to continue to streamline the way that we help you in order for us to be able to stay focused on the continued growth of the project. And in the past, him and I really had no boundaries and were online 24 hours a day answering people's questions in 10 different platforms. And we just don't have the capacity to do it that way anymore. We honestly, quite frankly, burnt ourselves out by doing that for 3 years straight. And so we want to really hone in our focus on where we're providing support and how we're providing support so that you guys all still feel incredibly supported, but you're not expecting us to be available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I'm sure that you can all understand why we can no longer spread ourselves thin between 10 different avenues. From now on, there's 2 ways that we're providing support. One is through these AMAs. If you want to ensure your questions are 100% answered, as you can see, we have another AMA at 7:30, or at 8:30 EST. So we can't go on for 3 hours, but if you want to ensure your questions are always answered, please put them in Discord ahead of time. I have started working on a list of questions that were asked during the AMA tonight that we're not going to have time to answer. I hope that most of your questions were answered tonight because I compiled all the community's questions from earlier in the week, but I do see some that weren't answered, so I'm compiling a list of them to make sure we can cover them next week. But AMAs are our first avenue, and Discord tickets are our second avenue. And so from now on, we are providing our help and support in those 2 ways. And we won't be answering support through emails or Telegram DMs or Discord DMs or any of that kind of stuff. We know that some of you, especially those of you who email us, have never actually gotten onto Discord because you're afraid of scammers. But if you only use Discord to open a ticket and you're opening a ticket in the legitimate, normal way, not by clicking on something in the main chat, but going to the support ticket tab, and you'll see a specific tab that says support ticket, and then a specific tab underneath it that says ticket_support, and that will start a support ticket. It's impossible to be scammed that way because there are only 5 people who can access those tickets. AJ and I are 2 of them, and then we have 3 incredibly well-trusted admins who also have access to them. Most likely you're going to have AJ Stinky or I answering you in those. And if you prefer to receive your questions, or if you have something specific to your wallet address in a written format, do it through Discord. If it's a more general question, you can certainly do it through the AMAs. We're here every week. And so hopefully you guys are understanding of that because we just can't be answering 100 DMs a day, 12 emails a day, a DM on Discord, 10 DMs over here on Telegram, 20 DMs over here on Twitter. It becomes not streamlined at all because AJ doesn't know what I've already answered. I don't know what he's already answered. We don't know who's talking to who, or if they're messaging both of us and they're trying to get the same question answered from each of us individually. It's just too much. So I know a couple users in the email were disappointed that we won't be answering questions individually through emails, but it's just not the most efficient manner of answering them. It needs to be all streamlined in Discord so that when we have a chunk of an hour or a chunk of 2 hours to dedicate to answering questions, they're all there in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 1,000%. LA, we're already spread pretty thin as it is, and it's just become, even more overwhelming the more things that we build. So we just need to have an actual process. And I mean, the information is there. Again, anybody that just takes 10 to 30 minutes to actually look at our pin messages, any of the old AMAs, like all the information is fully there and available. So we just can't be somebody's convenience of not wanting to look into it themselves. And again, I say that with a grain of salt. 99% of you have legitimate issues or questions. And if you do, then yes, please just open a ticket on Discord. And as long as you're never responding to DMs or just use common sense, LA or I or Stinky or Grover or anybody for that matter will never ask you to connect to a website you're not familiar with. There is no official support website. There is no, send me your seed phrase. We never ever would need any of that. So please just use a bit of common sense. If it sounds fishy, then it probably is. So, but yeah. All right. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so I do have a list. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions here that we didn't have time to answer. I will 100% make sure they get answered next time on our next AMA, as we have to run over to HVM AMA right now. From the Discord questions, the majority of them either were answered tonight or they really need to be answered in an individual ticket because they're specific just to you. So if that is the case, I've replied to you and asked you to open a ticket. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hopefully we answered most of your questions, but like I said, we will work on the remaining ones next week. And we appreciate all of you for tuning in. And we're really excited about the future of where this is all going.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. It's a pleasure to be joined by you on every AMA that we do. Major shout out to you, Stinky, Grover, John, Machine, everybody in the background that makes it happen. We appreciate all of you. And yeah, this has been an amazing move forward with everything that we're building on base. I think we've found a great home here, and the entire ecosystem will be stronger now working together with Fusion and Plazm and Bonds and everything that we're doing. We had a record number of viewers tonight, nearly 200 live viewers. That is amazing. And almost half of what we usually get on every recorded AMA. So the new users are here. We love you. We appreciate you. We are going to continue to market and spread the word. And again, real revenue is the future. And as long as we continue to build revenue streams and have resources coming in without needing the hype or purely being driven on speculation, those are the protocols that will succeed long term. And I think 2026 will be an incredible year for all of us. So much love to all of you. We come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us on our other AMA right now, Universe Madness, our game that we're developing. You can find the link in all of our socials. So, all right, much love. A good night, good day. We'll see you next week. Bye bye, everyone.